I'm gonna carry my mama right here in my soul for the rest of my life. And when I spoke at her funeral, I looked down at my father and I saw a man who was once a 21-year-old man. I knew my father when he was 21, 22 years old. I remember that. And he was very handsome. He had those green eyes that apparently, for whatever reason, girls like those green eyes. Maybe I'm just a hater because I don't have none of that. I'm just an average guy. But yet, despite the fact that his little green eyed, light, and he was light skinned, you remember back in the day, people, if you light skinned and you got the curly hair and the green eye, right, all that stuff. He's still, because of how he was shaped as a man, because of how his father shaped him, looked at my mother and said, I'm gonna marry that woman. He didn't say I'm gonna get all them hoes. He didn't say that. He said I'm gonna marry that woman right there. And he claimed her. He went and he pursued her, and he married her, and he stuck by her side until her last breath. When she took her last breath, he was laying right next to her. She passed at about 4:30 in the morning. He was asleep, and he woke up and she was gone. But every single time I talked to him about my mother, his whole conversation was, my job is to take care of her, period. And what I don't get, here's what I'm not processing, because I'm old fashioned apparently, is I just really, when I saw Naomi Osaka with this rapper and I saw Chloe Bailey with the other rapper, both of whom have already broken the relationships have already ended. I was kind of like, I wonder why young ladies aren't interested in men like that anymore. Like, I wonder what it is that would make you look at someone who's a complete, who's not going to have a great future, most likely because he's engaging in some unhealthy habits, and not really interested in, like, family and all that is not really kind of like a role model in his head. What would make you want to align your children with him versus the guy who says, I want to be with you, I want to marry you, I want to cherish you, I'm going to take care of you until we're old and gray and dead. I want you to die. If you die first, I want you to die right next to me. If I die first, I want you next to my bedside. I don't know if this is where integration was bad for black people, and I'm not talking about civil rights integration. I'm not talking about Brown versus Board of Education. I'm not talking about we shall overcome. Let's go to school with white folks and get jobs working for white. I'm talking about integration with hip hop culture, which is also white culture for the most part. The reason I call it white culture is because the person who has the gold makes the rules. If you want to know who defines what something's going to be, it's the person who writes the damn check. I say this as a finance PhD. The person who writes the check, the person who pays the bills, decides what the culture is going to be. They decide what the rules are going to be. They decide which songs are going to be on the radio. You don't own no radio stations. You don't own the systems of distribution. You haven't raised a billion dollars in capital to start a record label. Not one rapper on in the history of the world has ever gone to Chase Bank and gotten $1 billion to start a record label. Never has that occurred. So stop acting like hip hop culture is black culture. That is not black culture. That is white culture, where white people are saying, this is what we need y'all to be. This is what we want y'all to be. We want you to be losers. We want you to be degenerates. We want you to have broken families. We want you to be on drugs. We want you to be drinking all the time. We want you throwing your money away. We want you ignorant. We want you lost. We want you with STDs. We want, and if you step out of that role, then you're not interested anymore. So let's circle back. Why was I on the treadmill, feeling some kind of way when I saw Zendaya, engaged to Tom Holland, and I thought about the other Disney princess who got with the rapper.